Welcome to the Committee on Budget special meeting. It is Thursday, January 18, 2024 at 1, I don't know the time, 1:40 p.m. Will the Committee on Budget please come to order? I would like to welcome, Committee Vice Chair Wire was just here, but we also have Councilmember Kia Aina, Councilmember Say, as well as Councilmember Talba, and Council Chair Tommy Waters. There are no other members who are participating remotely by video conference. Pursuant to Section 92-3.7 HRS, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology with the following procedures in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in two ways, remotely and in person in the council chamber. Remote and in-person oral testimony will be allowed when the agenda item is taken up. Before testifying, each person shall state their name, and each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. All persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference will be called upon first. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. I will then give persons who have not registered an opportunity to offer testimony. So please use the utilized raise hand feature on Zoom to be called upon. For those joining us by telephone only, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. I will then identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, please press *6 to unmute yourself when prompted. Some friendly reminders and tips. Please video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're also watching the proceedings on Honolulu, please mute your television at the time you are called to testify. When the timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. Once all remote testifiers have testified, I will proceed to in-person testimony in the council chamber. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to speak following the oral testimonies of the registered speakers. HRS Section 92-3.7 requires all votes at remote meetings to be conducted by roll call, unless unanimous. Therefore, I will first call for objections, and if there are any, I will call for a roll call vote. For those council members participating from outside of the council chamber, if we do have them, in accordance with HR Section 92-3.7, the meeting will automatically recess if we lose audio-visual contact with that council member, and we will not be able to reconvene until we re-establish contact. So I'll ask that council member, if there is a council member online, to please announce beforehand if they will be voluntarily signing out of the meeting. With that, the written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. And as a courtesy, please turn off or silence all cell phones. So, members, as a special meeting, you all know that our only agenda item for today is an item we had last week too. It is Resolution 23-299. This was to approve and authorize the reprogramming, receipt, and expenditure of ARPA, or American Rescue Plan Act, monies in the amount of $39,701,425. Members, we also have a proposed posted CD1, which is OCS 2024-0034-111-2024 at 1:23 p.m., which was submitted by myself. And for your information and for the public, it was already posted on the agenda as well as amendments online. With that, I want to share that we did postpone action on committee, which was on the 9th of this month, and we had a fruitful discussion, but of course we had this in the beginning of our meeting as well. So I hope that we can have another fruitful discussion as well today with our city administration, corporation council, and our budget director. So with that, from the city administration, we have our managing director, Mike Formby.
Good afternoon. Budget Committee Chair Cordero, Council Chair Waters, Vice Chair Kia Aina, and committee members, Mike Formby, Managing Director. First, I do want to thank Budget Chair and the Council for posting this special agenda item. I appreciate that, and I also appreciate the time that I had to meet with Council Chair Waters and Vice Chair Kia Aina, Jocelyn, and Somerset. That was very helpful to me, so I appreciate that opportunity. Here today to say that I've reviewed the CD1 and I'm actually okay with everything that is proposed there, no objections or comments, and I'm here to answer questions.
Okay. Sorry, members, are there any questions for the managing director relating to the expenditure of the $39,701,425 that will be used to go to OPEB? Any questions? Anything relating to tranche 2 projects? Anything? Council Chair Waters.
Thank you, Chair Cordero. I don't actually have any questions. When we met in Vice Chair's office, I think you put my concerns to rest, that basically the idea here is to free up money that would otherwise be used for OPEB to be used to take care of our public workers who deserve hazard pay, having worked through the COVID pandemic and putting their lives on the line for us. So I feel comfortable with this, and I appreciate you taking the time to explain it to us. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I understand, of course, the requirements. Oh, sorry, members, are there any other questions? I forgot. Okay, Managing Director, I understand that there's certain requirements, especially from the Department of Treasury, relating to the funding that we have for the ARPA and relating to the different subcategories. So was there any necessary movement that we've needed to make in coordination with the Department of Treasury to ensure that we can move dedicated funds that would have gone to possible projects to then be reallocated to OPEB?
So, Budget Chair, there are provisions in the Federal Register for how that calculation is done, and the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services has done that calculation as of the required time frame, and is confident that we have more than enough money for the $80 million that we're talking about setting aside. In fact, I think the capacity of the city to take revenue loss or revenue replacement is multiples of the $80 million that we're requesting. 40 million from tranche 2, 40 million from tranche 1.
Okay, understood. And so the 39 million that we have right now, is that from tranche 1 or tranche 2?
The reso concerns tranche 2,
okay,
and we're going through our process to recover, reallocate our funds for tranche 1.
Okay. I know that there's certainty that we can use the funding, but do we have the certainty that the city administration is to use all 80 million that's going to be put into OPEB in the expected time period to expend FRF funds?
I'm not sure I completely understood the question, but the plan is for the administration to dedicate that funding to OPEB so that it would create capacity in the budget for council to make an administration recommended appropriation to hazard pay. And what the unknown right now is what that number is going to be, because we haven't started global settlement discussions. So either way, whether settlement discussions succeed or fail, we'll still have capacity through the budget process at some point to use the appropriated money to pay hazard pay. And the difficulty will be if the figure is different than what we allocate, we may not have the appropriate appropriation. But the fallback to that, and we discussed this, is that there's talk about a payout over 2 years, which means if we don't have enough the first year, then we could look at an appropriation the following year. So there's many ways this might play out, but right now, until we get in discussions with the unions, I can't give you more detail than to say that we're trying to keep as much flexibility in what we're doing as possible so that the city has the fiscal capacity to do what is right.
Okay, thank you. I know that during budget discussions, we talk about bargaining units and then also different, we were talking about bargaining units and increases like on a simple level, right? And how the 4 counties sort of have to agree when it's for these bargaining units across the state, right? But also in each county. So how come we're not doing that across the state then?
Well, so the plan is to do global settlement negotiations, state and the counties, those that have not already settled or arbitrated. That is the plan.
Okay, so you're saying that other counties have already just whacked them out, just did them?
I believe Maui County has already signed some agreements, but other than that, I believe Hawaii County has not. I believe Kauai County has not. I think there is one proposed settlement agreement for one bargaining unit on Maui, but it hasn't been signed yet. So I think for the most part, even Maui, to the extent they haven't resolved through arbitration or settlement, they're still open to to working with us globally.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councilmember Tolba.
Thank you, Chair. In the, what's the worst case scenario? So that we always transparent. And my question is, that's the first one. The second one is, do we have an estimate timeline of when we could possibly reach a settlement, and how much was 3 questions, sorry. What's the worst case scenario? Third question is like, how much was the Maui settlement?
So Councilmember Tobo, I would prefer not to talk specific numbers unless we did that in executive session, simply because we are in active arbitration with UPW. And in anticipation of global settlement discussions, I do not want to speak in a way that might tie the county's hands. So if you're interested in having discussion about numbers and potentialities, and I would ask Corporation Counsel, who's present, to advise whether or not we can go into executive session on that topic.
Okay, we can discuss going into executive session in a bit, but does anyone have anything that's not related specifically to the numbers that we will need to be receiving, or any sensitive type information? Anything like that? Nope. Okay, hold on one moment. Let me look if I have any questions. Oh, okay. My question is, and I think I asked this last time, but I think I asked it in like a 5-part question, so it wasn't totally answered. But what was the process of selecting which projects that were going to be reprogrammed
For tranche 1?
for tranche 2?
So for tranche 2, they're in the reso.
And also tranche, I guess you can do both tranches then.
Yeah, so for tranche 1, we're going through that process now. We have to go through the committee, and we have to pull back the money. And so at Cabinet this week, I announced to the Cabinet members that if they are not under contract, then we're going to be pulling the money back. And so we'll get a full accounting to the council of what the tranche 1 projects are that are being pulled back. That's a commitment you'll have. You'll know exactly what our contribution is by project.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions relating to tranche 2 projects or anything like that before I make a motion to go into executive session? Nope. Okay, seeing none. Appears that we will be needing to go into executive session. Members, are there any objections to resolving into an executive session? Okay, without objections, the committee, hang on. Without objections, the committee convenes into a closed meeting pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statutes, Sections 92-4 and 92-5A4, to consult in a closed meeting with its attorneys on questions and issues pertaining to the council's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and or liabilities relating to, I guess, ARPA and hazard pay. So, members, do we have a vote? Okay, all in affirmative. So the following members will be participating in executive session. Managing Director Mike Formby. We'll have Director Kawano, sorry, thank you. And then we'll have Corporation Counsel, as well as all council members present. We'll have from the Office of Council Services. Denise, are you staying? Denise, are you staying? No? Okay. No? Okay. Kyle Shiroma, Office of Council Services Staff Attorney Sharon Brooks, Office of Council Services Staff Attorney Mike Chief of Staff Dina Shuring, as well as Council Support Services Somerset Yamamoto. With that, members, please remain seated in the council chamber for executive session. Any non-executive session staff and members of the public must vacate the council chamber. The video recording and audio broadcast of the meeting shall cease until we reconvene from executive session. I now call a recess. Ooh, sorry. Okay, the Committee on Budget is reconvened in open session. So pursuant to sections 92-4 and 92-5A4 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes, the committee has consulted an executive session with its attorneys on questions and issues pertaining to the powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and or liabilities of the city, the council, and the committees on Resolution 23-299. Okay, members, we did go through discussion and executive session, so next we will move to testimony. We will now proceed with remote testifiers. So when I call your name or the last 3 digits of your phone number, please follow the prompts. We do have Angela Young.
Aloha, Chair and the committee. Angela Melody Young testifying on behalf of CARES. I want to support this resolution because the Rescue Plan Act provides direct relief to the American people, especially those during the COVID-19 pandemic were affected, and the marginalized and those below the poverty threshold, the immigrants, bus drivers, the vulnerable people, the homeless people, we should care about them. And I actually volunteer to like with the homeless activity, and it looks like there's in the column $5 million for nonprofits to provide relief relating to homelessness, substance abuse, mental abuse initiatives, and then also there's a column with the resilience action strategy to support Kahales. And in the series of ways and means and finance hearings, they are going to integrate the homeless plan with the new director.
Okay, thank you, Angela.
No? Yeah, so it's good that we're hearing about this now, so thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, seeing there are no other registered testifiers, is there anyone else who wishes to testify online? Seeing none, we will now move forward to in-person testifiers. Seeing that there are none, is there anyone else who wishes to testify? Seeing none, members, we are back in discussion. Okay, clarify, and as clarified by Managing Director as well, what's listed on the agenda is what's being taken out from tranche 2. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, so members, any other discussion? Any discussion? Okay, Selena, I do want to thank the city administration for being able to talk to us further, especially to convene into executive session, which we were unable to do last week as well. So with that, I am keen in moving this forward, but first the chair recommends that resolution 23-299 be amended to the posted CD1. Any discussion on the CD1 itself? Nope. Okay, any objections, any reservations? Hearing none, the resolution has been amended to a CD1. The chair then recommends that resolution 23-299 CD1 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Okay, with that, there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.